Jack and the Beanstalk. There was once a poor widow who had a lazy son called Jack. One day, Jack's mother sent him to the market to sell their cow, which was all that they had left in the world. On his way, Jack met a strange old man who offered to buy the cow in exchange for some magic beans. Jack did not want to walk all the way to market, so he took the beans and went home very pleased with himself. His mother was furious. She sent him to bed and threw the beans out of the window. The next morning, when Jack awoke, his room was dark. He looked out to see a strange plant growing. He rushed outside in excitement and found a mighty beanstalk reaching towards the sky. Without wasting a second, Jack began to climb. He climbed higher than the treetops, higher than the clouds, until he reached the blue sky and stepped out onto a long, straight white road. Jack followed the road until he came to a castle, where a very large woman opened the door to him. He asked her politely for some breakfast, for by now he was very hungry. The woman told him to run away fast, for her husband was a fearsome ogre who liked to eat little boys for his breakfast. But Jack was too hungry to go back, so he pleaded for something to eat, and the kindly ogre's wife let him in and agreed to hide him should her husband return. Jack was finishing his bread and milk when thump, 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 he heard the ogre stomping down the road. The woman grabbed Jack and hid him in the oven. The ogre came into the kitchen and roared at the top of his voice. "Nonsense," said the wife. "You just sit down and have your breakfast." Jack peeped out of his hiding place and was terrified to see what a huge, ugly monster he was. The ogre ate his enormous breakfast, then called for his gold, and then sat counting it until he fell asleep, snoring loudly. This was Jack's big chance. He grabbed one of the bags and dashed out of the castle, along the road and down the beanstalk as quick as his legs could carry him. His mother was delighted when she saw the gold and quickly forgave him, and they lived happily again. Still, after a while, the gold ran out and Jack decided to climb the beanstalk again and go back to the castle. Again, the kindly ogre's wife let him in, for he had disguised himself so that she would not recognize him. And again, she fed him and hid him from her husband when he returned, this time in a huge copper pot. Then the ogre called for his golden hen. "Lay," roared the ogre, and then the hen laid an egg of solid gold. "Lay another," he cried, and the hen laid an even larger golden egg. When Jack saw the golden eggs, his eyes nearly popped out. When the ogre fell asleep, Jack climbed carefully out of the pot, grabbed the hen, and ran to the door. The hen started to squawk, and the ogre woke up with a start. Jack raced along the road with the ogre chasing him after with his huge strides. Even though Jack was running faster than he had ever run in his life, the ogre was almost upon him when Jack reached into the beanstalk. Just as the ogre reached out of his hand to grab Jack and retrieve his precious hen, Jack slipped nimbly down the beanstalk. The ogre paused for a few moments, wondering if this strange plant would carry his weight. Then he began to climb slowly down after Jack. The beanstalk began to sway and creak, and Jack, realizing the ogre was following, went even faster. When Jack reached his garden, he called, "Quick, get me an axe, mother." He seized the axe and began to chop at the mighty beanstalk. It swayed and creaked, and then it fell with a tremendous crash, the ogre dead under the leaves. Jack and his mother lived happily all their lives with the golden hen that brought them more riches than they knew how to spend.